Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. All right. Welcome into another duly noted podcast, as always, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Today, Coach Spurrier will join us. We always love talking to him, talk about his Niners. Of course, he played at San Francisco, so that's his home team in the NFL. We'll talk to him about that and about a bunch of other stuff. We'll have our Campus USA play of the game, and it comes from one of those games as well that went on. So let us start off with, by the way, Mark Wise on Friday. I think Mark Wise is set for Friday, and hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Weather was beautiful. Let us get to our hand law starting lineup, because we always love the hand law starting lineup. Starting lineup is presented by Hand Law, Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Jacksonville, oh, what a wonderful town. Jacksonville, Jacksonville. The place is growing up by leaps and bounds. That was an actual song in the 60s that they put on TV, Jacksonville stations. They were promoting Jacksonville, the bold new city of the South. I see you've learned something today. That's the important thing. All right, number one, Florida basketball. Nice effort. Not. That was terrible. They just didn't look like they wanted to be there. I don't know. Look, it's easy to say, look, everybody was overwhelmed by the emotion of Keontae, but most of those guys never played with Keontae on this team now. Certainly Castleton did, and some other guys did. Myron Jones did, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think Kansas State's really good and Florida's not. And Kansas State was playing at home and Florida wasn't. And Kansas State manhandled Florida and will manhandle a lot of teams. It's a really good team. They're a top 5 team. Florida is not. I don't think there was anything about this story. He was only part of the story. He didn't even play great. 13 points, 11 rebounds. He played good, but that's all he needs to give them. They've got a really good basketball team. Florida does not. And that's where we'll leave it. All right, let number 2 on hand law starting lineup. I didn't plan to leave it there, but that's where I'm going to leave it. Number 2 on the hand law starting lineup. Let's talk about the AFC game first. All the penalties that were called, 9 on Cincinnati. It's the way it is. You have to play around the penalties. The last one was a legitimate penalty. It did change the field goal attempt, and it certainly was. If you're a Cincinnati fan, you're mad. And you deserve to be mad, because that's what happens when you lose a game and you commit penalties. And some of them are, look, all penalties are judgment calls in the NFL. It feels like they could call penalty all the time. But the bottom line is you committed them, you got called for them, you lost the game, you scored 20 points. It's not enough against a team like that. I'm a big Mahomes fan. Really happy for him playing on that ankle and doing what he did. Pretty incredible. Well, I'm sure he'll be involved in the play of the game when we get up to that point. But anyway, Kansas City, 3rd time in 4 years in the Super Bowl. That's pretty impressive. And a lot of it is, and again, coach I really like is Andy Reid. Not just because of the commercials, State Farm commercials, but I just like Andy Reid. I like the innovativeness that he does. Sometimes he gets a little too cute, but I like too cute versus never do anything. Never even try anything. It's kind of what Kyle Shanahan did. But anyway, that was a fun game to watch. I enjoyed it because I was definitely rooting for Kansas City. Number 3 on our hand law starting lineup. The NFC game obviously was not very much fun. 31-7. When San Francisco lost their quarterbacks, all of them, they lost them all. It was like they go, well, who's going to play next? I could have done better. I can tell you that. But I do think that do not look only at the quarterback situation with Philadelphia with San Francisco. Look at what Jalen Hurts has been able to do. Let me tell you what, Jalen Hurts, when he was at Alabama, I didn't see as being an NFL great quarterback. I saw a guy like a Josh Dobbs who could stay on teams and more. I did not think he would be this good. I think the year he got with Lincoln Riley helped. I think the year he's had with Brian Johnson, the former Florida coach, is a huge factor. And if somebody doesn't hire Brian Johnson, you're just stupid. He really knows what he's doing for one of those head coaching jobs. So I think you have to look at that. You have to look at what Jalen Hurts has been able to do. This guy, there's something to be said for playing at the highest level at every level you're at. And you keep doing it over and over, and you're going to get good at it. And you're going to be, eventually it's going to be like regular, just normal game. All right, it's just a game. And it's not going to overwhelm you. And I don't think the Super Bowl is going to overwhelm him. It'll be interesting to see how it all works out. Philadelphia now a 2-point favorite going in. I think a lot has to do with Mahomes' ankle. I'll be rooting for. I really am not going to root for either team. I like both teams. These are kind of like my two favorite teams all year. You know me. I root for players, not for laundry. So I've always liked. For some reason, I like Alabama quarterbacks, and I can't explain it. I think I need a lobotomy. I don't know what's going on. All right. Number 4, the quarterback carousel continues. The Dolphins say they're not interested in Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's like, hey, just bought a house. No. I don't know what's going to happen with Brady. I think he's going to retire. He's going to say, this is it. Let me step into this TV role. I'm going to do it eventually anyway. There are no guarantees wherever I go. We just saw that. I was with the Bucks. I got him to the Super Bowl. We got knocked out of the playoffs next year. The next year we were under 500. We still got to the playoffs, and I just didn't I don't have it anymore. I think that's what he's going to do. Meanwhile, there's a lot of talk about an Aaron Rodgers trade with the Packers. So we'll have to see what happens there. There's a bunch of other quarterbacks bounce around. I don't know what is going to happen in San Francisco now. I mean, I guess they trade Garoppolo and keep Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go. The quarterback situation, it is so hard to find one. And when you're Kansas City or you're Philadelphia and you've got one, hold on to him with everything you have. Hug him and pet him and make him happy because he needs to stay there. Meanwhile, Kellen Moore, also a former quarterback, out at Dallas, which came out of nowhere. I was surprised by that. He is no longer the coach there. Number 5, I didn't mention this earlier. I wanted to get to it on the hand loss starting lineup. The SEC lost 3-7. You're not supposed to give scores backwards, but I'm giving this one 3-7 to the Big 12 in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Not a good look for the SEC because you had a lot of teams trying to fight their way up, and all you did was fight it down. Not good. And your best team, the team you thought was going to win, you might win it all this year, got humiliated by Oklahoma. Not a good weekend for the SEC. Kentucky loses to Kansas. That one I was happy about. But other than that, wasn't good. Oklahoma stormed the court after beating Alabama. Alabama, that bastion of basketball history. No, sorry. I'm trying to think of the national titles Alabama's won. Anyway, people just like storming the court. All right, that's going to do it for our Hand Law starting lineup, and we appreciate our great friends at Hand Law, and we'll be back with Coach Spurrier here on another Dooley Noted podcast, presented to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he has just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town.
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley's Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Ige team at Odell Realty. Ben Ige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investment. Ben Ige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators. That's www.beneige.com/Gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Ige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201-4264.
Calling Gator Nation. You're invited to be part of Gator history on Friday, February 10th for the official dedication of Steve Spurrier Way at Celebration Point Promenade in front of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Lots of dignitaries and press will be on hand to witness this historic event. And it's open to all who bleed orange and blue. It's the grand unveiling of Steve Spurrier Way. It's all happening Friday, February 10th from 5:30 to 6:15 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point.
All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI, as we always do on Mondays, or try to do always on Mondays. Coach Steve Spurrier joins us, brought to you by Meldon Law. All his appearances are brought to you by Meldon Law. We appreciate him being on every Monday. We've had a good time talking about a lot of things. We're almost at the end of football season, Steve. We now know the last two teams are going to play.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I was telling people, Sunday's games are usually better than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Two teams going for the conference championship and this, that, and the other. But, boy, the 49ers, with both quarterbacks getting hurt, that was a sad game. I don't think they would have won anyway. Philly was just way too good for them, run the ball, defense. And, boy, it turned into an ugly game, though, real quick.
Yeah, it was not good.
It was sad for television. But, anyway, Philly won the game, and Jalen Hurts, good story on him. And they're ready to go try to win a Super Bowl. My 49ers, you know, I was with them 9 years, so I have a loyalty to those guys. Man, when both their quarterbacks went out, it was sad. I don't think I've ever
was
seen
sad. It was sad.
An important game with you got no chance after, second quarter? Whenever
you don't have a 15 quarterback.
You don't even have yeah. So it was over quickly, and it's just a matter of running out the clock, both sides running out the clock.
Yeah, it's funny because I wanted to ask you that. I was watching the game because Steve Young actually put up on Twitter, do you guys need me? I'm in the parking lot, you know. But so I thought you might put one up, go, hey, I at least throw the ball forward. But what would you do in that situation? Would you just put a running back? A lot of people said and you know how good Deebo Samuel is. I mean, you coached him at South Carolina. Just put them in the shotgun, have them run, and have them throw the ball occasionally so that they have to respect the pass. I don't know what you do, though, in that situation when you're down to nobody.
Obviously, they had no plan whatsoever. Yeah. And really the odds of two of them getting hurt in the same game are very rare. I think Tom Brady's played, 22 years? And only 1 year, the guy fell into his knee.
That's right.
He missed about half the season.
Changed the rule, too. Now you can't go low on guys.
Yeah. So you very seldom see it happen, but it happened yesterday, and the game was over as soon as it happened. But Philly was maybe the better team, and we'll find out. But the Cincinnati-Kansas City game, I feel sad for the player. Joseph Asai is his name.
From Texas.
That gave Patrick Mahomes that last little shove out of bounds, and that was the whole ball game. And then, of course, Kansas City kicker made it. He did his job. But they had a 60-yarder or a 45-yarder.
I know. And that 45-yarder barely got over.
Yeah, he hit it well. He hit it well. That's all he had to do is make a good hit, and he did. Made an excellent hit. But still, that you don't push guys out of bounds with 8 seconds left or whatever.
You don't. And, again, that guy had played his tail off that whole game. I mean, watching Joseph Asai just was all over the place. And I tell you what, the intensity of that game, if you could bottle that and make it, sprinkle it all over the Gator players for every game. I mean, that to me, that was the intensity of just how important it was to everybody. Maybe that's just the difference when you're a professional. I don't know.
But, they'd lost all 3 games to Cincinnati. That Mahomes lost were about 3 points.
3 points, so exactly.
If it's a 3-point game, in my opinion, either team could have won.
Yeah.
Whoever makes a play or doesn't make a play or does something stupid or does something heroic. But anyway, I think Andy Reid's the best coach up there. I don't know how you feel.
Him.
He is. Let me tell you what. I didn't realize till yesterday he's the winningest coach in franchise history with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he needs 1 win to be the winningest at Kansas City.
That sounds familiar.
There ain't many of us that have done that. Ain't many of us. The winningest.
Who else has done that? One at 2 different places other than you?
The other guy who owns it right now, but it's not Power Fives, is Gary Pinkel. Pinkel, Missouri, and he was also the winningest at Toledo.
Yeah,
Gary Pinkel. So give that guy.
So you're the only one that's done it at 2 Power Fives.
I'm the only one now since Stoops broke Bear Bryant's record of 60 at Kentucky. So anyway, but Andy Reid to do that at 2 different franchises is pretty neat. That means he got fired when he was the winningest coach in Philly history. He got fired.
Right.
Peterson came
and now he's playing Philly. There's so many storylines. You got Both Kelsey brothers on opposite sides.
They call it the Andy Reid Bowl, somebody said. Sort of like Florida, South Carolina, when we played. Somebody said Spurrier Bowl. But anyway, it'll be a good matchup, fun to watch. Man, I sad to hear that about Stetson Bennett getting arrested for public intoxication. Man, the Bulldogs have had some tough things happen since they won that second national championship. And I feel sad for Kirby and his program, because I really think he runs a first-class, clean program. And sometimes after huge success, people do some stupid things. And I'm sure Stetson is apologizing and trying to regroup from that. And then, of course, it came out that the car that the girl was driving is a university vehicle, and should not have been used.
There's a lot of issues.
Should not have been used for personal use. So they got.
In the end, though, you look back and go and think about the fact that there's 2 lives gone, and that's the end.
Yeah,
but,
that's just.
So I would caution any Gator fans of getting too excited because Georgia's having troubles. That's not what it's about. It's about young people having situations that they're not dealing with well, and we'll see where it goes.
Yep. A shout out to Shonda Stebbins, the Santa Fe basketball coach. Won her 300th game here just the other day. So she's been there, I think, around 15, 16 years, something like that.
I remember as a player,
She played here at Florida. In fact, she played basketball and volleyball.
She did.
With Mary Rise and Carol Ross. I was reading about her the other day. So congrats to Shonda. Quite an accomplishment, and she loves staying right there at Santa Fe.
Yep.
Maybe opportunities for bigger jobs, but she felt like she could help those young ladies right there, and has done an excellent job doing that.
She has done a great job, and I remember her playing, and like you said, playing volleyball. I think she was a setter in volleyball, and pretty good basketball player. It is time for us to get to our Campus USA Play of the Week. And I want to ask you about a couple others, but this was the play of the week. And here it is. He's scrambling. There's a hole going on. And then, boom. And that was the game.
That's right at the 40-yard line.
Yep.
So the field goal would have been 52-10, 62 yards or something like that. But with the 15-yard penalty, it got down to just a 45-foot yarder, which the kicker made very easily. So that was that was a dumb play by the player, but it's history now.
It is. I mean, people react to things, and he was trying to make sure he got inbounds, or he tried to explain it, but look, he's a good kid, apparently.
He was hustling. I will say that. He was hustling, and he may have stumbled and bumped into him as he was stumbling, but still, you cannot get a player out of bounds.
You can't do that. And when it happened, I went, well, that's going to be a penalty. I wanted to ask you about another play that I saw early in the game, because I'm a big believer, and I have some weird beliefs about football strategy. I'm a big believer that if you have a good hook and lateral play, you don't run it on the last play of the game. You run it earlier in the game. You run it, and Kansas City did that, although it was a bad play. I mean, he threw the ball way across the field. It was too far to throw it, and they didn't do anything about it. But, I mean, I'm wondering what you think about that. Whether you would want to, hey, let's go ahead and show it in the second quarter, and if it works, it works.
Yeah, and I had never seen it like that, and even Tony Romo, so we've all seen the old hook and lateral. Got in there, hooks, catches it, the guy runs by him. But this one, they had Kelsey coming across, and he was open. They had a guy flaring, and the guy clearing out. So it's sort of like a flood route, 1, 2, 3, and hitting the crosser. And if he hadn't thrown it a little low, he'd gained a lot more yards.
Yeah, he got more yards.
So anyway, it was a neat idea, and Kansas City comes up with those plays. They do a lot of different stuff. That's why you got to enjoy watching them. They will show you a ball play you've never seen before. And I always tried to, if I could find one of those, that was fun to call and hopefully execute it.
Is that kind of what you did? You'd watch games on Sundays or Saturday, even Saturday before your game, and
we didn't
somebody
do a
ran a play.
Them, but the sort of reverse to receivers, throwing back to quarterbacks, and all those kind of things.
Well, that was a Philly special that they ended up running, and I was like, "That's a Spurrier play."
Yeah, that's nothing more than throw back to the quarterback. Yeah. In fact, Connor Shaw caught that play against Nebraska. Wisconsin in the Capital One Bowl. We handed it off, and the guy ran it all the way over there. We'd like to take it almost all the way near the sideline. The receiver would go down about 8 yards and then belly back like that. So the pitch was way out here. So the quarterback, he can just sort of stand there for at least 2 or 3 seconds. And I used to tell him just stand there. And then once you see him toss it, then you take off. And that way you don't go early. It's a play to be patient with. But it's good once or twice a year.
I remember
really
when
is.
you ran it. I think it was against Florida State with Travis and Doug. It might have been another game. And golly, Doug ended up having to play defensive back and knock the ball away.
Yeah, occasionally.
But there was the one you ran that other play with Terry Dean that
Dorian hit him.
Yeah,
I think
that was a great play.
Travis McGriff actually threw that against Georgia in I want to say '98. But we beat him 38-7, so nobody really thought much about it at the time. But Travis was an excellent passer. Almost all the receivers, they can catch, they can throw pretty decently.
Because they're doing it all the time.
They ball in the hand, throwing back and so forth. So they were all pretty good passers.
But that's the thing, going back to that San Francisco game, I can't believe there wasn't anybody on that roster of physical athletic players that couldn't throw the ball forward. Mm-hmm. You know, would just put somebody in and go, hey.
Shotgun it. And,
just here's the play we're going to run. Just get it out. Mm-hmm. There had to be somebody.
Yeah. Or just they've been better off running the hidden ball play, you know. Just run it 3 times.
Or you could do the merry-go-round or
do something.
But it's just almost like they said the only way we can win is just run the ball up the middle. Mm-hmm. And other than that, there's not much we can do. Gymnastics got a win, as you know. Mm-hmm. That was good. They weren't great, but Trinity Thomas again with a 10.
Yeah.
She's incredible. I think she's going to be in the argument greatest Gator athlete of all time. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's in that argument because when I watch her, I go, I can't believe what I'm seeing here. It's just so smooth.
Oh, it's amazing. And every time she does one of those double flips or something, there's never any just hit like she just jumped off a small ladder. She bounces and there's no stumble. Yeah, it's amazing. She's tremendously coordinated, talented, balanced, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think she's easily could be the best in the nation right now.
And now we're up to the point where we're getting all these. I mean, golf started today, men's golf. They playing in at TBC Sawgrass.
Yeah,
and women's golf's getting ready to start. Baseball and softball getting ready to start. I mean, I like this time of year because the weather's usually pretty good, and we get to see so many. We have so many options in Gainesville because it's one thing to have options in a town where the teams aren't any good, but the teams are pretty much good here, other than maybe football right now.
Yeah, I tell you what's interesting. Also, Max Homa, that's his first name, I think, that won the tournament out at Torrey Pines. He said his key to success this year is he's hired a psychologist lady that mentally gets the guys in a good position.
Right.
And he talked about how it's really helped him. And obviously the way he played yesterday, where he came from about 5 shots back and won by 2 or 3, he could be a factor. Max Homa.
He's a good player.
He's a very good player.
He's good on Twitter too. But I tell you what, I play what little I play, and I'm not any good anymore. But when I play, I realize I'm standing over the ball and I'm thinking about the thing I have to do later this afternoon. And I'm like, you have to get focused. And it's hard for me, who's not an athlete, and you, even when you were an athlete, it's still hard to get focused sometimes.
Yeah, we probably have a lot of negative thoughts. Like when I'm putting, don't miss it right. Well, again, don't miss it left. And then just try to stand still and roll it, obviously, is what you're supposed to do. But, golf is a mental game. Guys that can repeat their swings and their chips and their putts and things like that. Yeah,
it's totally mental. And all these guys on tour, we were talking about the other day on the radio about like a guy like Nick Gillum, who was so good, was the best player in the country in 2001, won the national title, but he's.
Another thing I was thinking about, Pat, we're going to have an interesting spring football practice.
Yes, very interesting.
We don't know who the quarterback's going to be.
No
unless
idea.
We just appoint one. I would think Billy would say, hey, we got 2 or 3 guys. We're going to let them fight it out, and let's see who can play the best. And I would hope they would have some scrimmages other than the orange and blue game, and maybe open it up.
Yeah.
And put them out there and let them play.
That's when you find out, right?
Let's see who can play the best. Yeah. So hopefully that'll happen, and maybe have some open scrimmages and let those quarterbacks have a little pressure. There's people in the stands. And
I agree.
Let's go play and see what happens.
You used to do that. I mean, I remember
Oh,
spring scrimmage, but where basically Rex won the job from Brock. He was so good now, and you just kind of you knew at that point. But it was a lot of it was because he was playing in front of a lot of people. I mean, it was probably 20,000, but it was still people.
Yeah, just some people and a little pressure. Hey, I need to play well if I'm going to be the quarterback here. And I think it's helpful for really all of them to do it that way. But, Rex was the answer to my trivia question here at the restaurant the other night. What one Gator quarterback started in a Super Bowl?
He was. I would have gotten that one right. Yeah,
he's the only one, Rex Grossman.
Yep.
And he was an excellent passer. Played, I think, 8 or 9, 7, 8 years. I'm not sure, but he took the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl and lost to Peyton Manning's Indianapolis team.
The rain game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the game?
Oh no, we were still in recruiting season.
That's right.
During that. But I tell you what, Rex called me the morning of the game. He called me about 10, 11 o'clock. We always had the assistant coaches over to our house for a little Super Bowl party and their wives and so forth. And he just said, thanks for getting me here, Coach. And,
really?
I said, well, I appreciate it, but you got yourself there. I tried to help a lot of other guys get there. But Rex was a beautiful, natural passer. Mm-hmm. And then once he got his mental part of it in line, he was very good. Very good.
So, yeah, he came down here just to pop in on you, to be recruited by you, right?
He was just making the rounds with his parents. They'd stopped in, I want to say Miami, maybe, or somewhere. And then they were going to FSU. Mm-hmm. And I just happened to be in that morning. It was in the middle of the summer. I for some reason, I was down at the office. And Betty Ling said, there's a kid from Indiana and his dad here, and they have their film or tape. And would you like to meet him? And I said, sure. So we walked in there, put the tape on, and I offered him a scholarship right then.
Really?
Yeah. And they said
Do
later.
you just like the way
I just watched him throw the ball and move around. And naturally, he's a very natural passer. I think he went up to FSU after that on the way back to Indiana. And they said, we'll take your film and look at it later. One of those deals. So, being at the right place at the right time is a big part of recruiting probably also, because we didn't go into Indiana.
Right.
Bloomington's his hometown there. But then and then Jesse Palmer sort of got here the same way. He's from Canada.
I know. So he was playing 7-on-7, right?
I think they played touch ball up there. Because he'd never made a tackle in his life. After he threw that interception against Auburn, what game was that? That was in the
98 was his
year. 97 year.
Yeah, 97, And Quezzy and Noah came in.
And Noah came in. Quezzy had to run, pass, and catch touchdown. But he didn't know how to tackle. He went over and just fell down. The guy cut back. We fortunately got him down later. But I asked him, I said, let me ask you something. That's not how you tackle. Do you know how to tackle? Have you ever made a tackle? He said, no, sir. I've never made a tackle in my life. I said, all right, we're going to do some tackling drills. But these kids growing up nowadays that play quarterback, they don't play sandlot ball, pitch up, tackle, blah, blah, blah. So you got to teach them how to tackle a little bit.
You do. You do. All right. You got anything else for us, Coach?
That's about it. We got 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, but our spring sports teams, men's basketball, they're doing pretty good.
They're okay.
Didn't play well at K-State.
No.
Didn't shoot very well. But gosh, we've won, I think 5 of 6 prior to that. And,
so they're 5 of 7.
They're doing pretty well. Our ladies team struggling a bit right now.
Game tonight.
We need to get on track and see if we can make a strong run here as we go through the middle and latter part of the seasons.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we will be back next Monday with Coach Spurrier, but right now we have to take a break. We'll come back with all of our fun stuff, including Robbie Andreu on Yes, No, Where, Maybe, here on another Dooley Noted podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brew To Go. What would give me the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Tebow Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Ige team at Odell Realty. Ben Ige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Ige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators. That's www.beneige.com/Gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Ige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201-4264.
calling Gator Nation. You're invited to be part of Gator history on Friday, February 10th for the official dedication of Steve Spurrier Way at Celebration Point Promenade in front of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Lots of dignitaries and press will be on hand to witness this historic event. And it's open to all who bleed orange and blue. It's the grand unveiling of Steve Spurrier Way. It's all happening Friday, February 10th from 5:30 to 6:15 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point.
Hello there. Welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast, or as Robbie calls it, the Codcast. Brought to you, as always, by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Great pleasure, as always, to bring on Robbie Andreu to do a little bit of Yes, No, Where, Maybe. And, of course, Yes, No, Where, Maybe is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. And also the Zoom line as well is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. We appreciate them for all that they do. And it's always great when we go from Steve Spurrier to Robbie Andreu. I mean, you can't do better than that, right?
From legend to loser.
from guy who's got a Heisman to guy who's been to the Heisman.
Yeah, that's about it.
Guy who won the Heisman to guy who's voted on the Heisman.
Yeah. But no more.
No, you're out. You told me that the other day. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, once I told them I was retired and didn't cover football, they said, "No, see you."
I can't believe they did that, because there have been people voting forever that are voting on the Heisman, and you would
I know.
Your vote on the Heisman I would take for much more credence than a lot of people, believe me. Because you watch games, right? You watch more games than anybody. That's the only criteria, really, is that you know the game and you watch it. Both things I think are true. All right, so let us get to Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. Of course, if you go in there and mention another Dooley Noted podcast, you get free French fries with your order. Not a bad thing at all, because every day is Friday. No, that's a different place.
Yeah, you better not go there with that.
Every day is Friday at Big Mill's Cheesesteak, too. They have great French fries. All right, number one, Robbie, on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. The Eagles are 2-point favorites. They will stay the favorites by the time we kick it off 2 Sundays from yesterday.
I'll say maybe, Pat, because it's such a close line there, only 2 points. So, it depends on where the money goes and whether it changes back and forth. And people are going to be wondering about Mahomes' ankle also. It could go up.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is crazy about the last game with Mahomes is the line. The Bengals were favored on the road for a little while, and then as soon as they saw the workouts, they went, no, we're making the Chiefs a favorite. So the money all poured in on that. So it'll be interesting, because as Mahomes goes through this 2-week period, you would think his ankle will be all right in 2 weeks. There's going to be a lot of I don't think there'll be major movement, but I would guess that it's going to be between 2.5 one way and 1.5 the other way the whole time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just like that, Pat. But the thing too, covering Florida football over the years, guys with high ankle sprains are out for over a month. I know. Does he really have a high ankle sprain, or just a sprained ankle? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that it's a high ankle sprain, but he's just getting injections and.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know. QC kinetics.
Usually that was
everything else.
Usually you were going to miss a bunch of games if you had a high ankle sprain at Florida.
Remember when I actually broke my ankle, but I didn't really break it. I kind of broke a little bit of a piece of bone off of it playing basketball, and I showed up in a boot, and Zook looked down at me and goes, "That's 6 weeks at our place." Like.
He didn't like that, getting players in a boot.
I was there. I gutted it out with that boot, and then I saw his last game wearing a boot, the Mississippi State game.
Did you not fall down that night getting out of the car in the rain?
Yeah, it was pouring rain. That bottom of that boot just went fell down, soaking wet. What a miserable day that was.
It was.
All right, number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Trinity Thomas is in the discussion to be on the Mount Rushmore at Florida.
Who is?
Trinity Thomas. Gymnast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Jill and I watched that meet the other night, and she's just phenomenal, Pat. She's maybe the greatest athlete to ever come to Florida. I mean, she's just so dominant and so good at what she does. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I thought Bridget Sloan would always be like the best gymnast ever. And you could make an argument for Keitra Hunter, but nah, I mean, to me, I think it's not even an argument that she's the best of that. So now, you get to if you're doing a Mount Rushmore, I know radio shows love to do this, and everybody goes, Tebow, Werfel, I'd put Neil Walk on mine.
You would, wouldn't you?
Hey,
but Trinity Thomas would have to be on there.
Neil Walk was 1 rebound away from 20 rebounds a game. That's hard to beat as a junior.
That is pretty phenomenal, Pat.
He also went to no NCAA tournaments.
Yeah, great college player.
He and Pete Maravich have that in common. Neither one ever went to the NCAA tournament. There you have it.
Pretty amazing.
That doesn't do much for you?
No.
All right.
But Trinity Thomas, she's definitely in or on.
All right. Number 3 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Robbie, the coach you felt the worst about that lost yesterday was Shanahan because his dad.
I'd say maybe, Pat. I think you got to feel bad if you're Cincinnati too. The late hit out of bounds, that was a crushing thing. That poor guy was sitting on the sidelines crying. Not the coach, but the guy that did it. So, yeah, I think maybe Shanahan, but Cincinnati has to feel pretty bad about the way that thing ended yesterday.
Well, not only that, but they had all those penalties, and a lot of them. I mean, look.
Oh, I know.
They in my opinion, they can call a penalty. I would say every other play. Everybody says you can call a penalty on every play. I think every other play you could call it, and that's why we'll never have robots in the NFL or college football because
it takes forever to play the game.
Well, no, yeah, and they're all field plays. They're all judgment calls. I mean, interference, judgment calls. I mean, it goes on and on. But I felt bad for Shanahan because he didn't get a chance. He didn't get it. He's in the final. Yeah. He had no chance to win the game, and it wasn't because of anything he did wrong.
Yeah,
and I guess he should have.
Yeah, it was painful to watch that thing because they couldn't throw the ball. They didn't have a quarterback that could throw the ball. I've never seen a playoff game like that where you didn't have a quarterback for most of a half, and it was unbelievable to watch. And the Eagles just grabbed the line of scrimmage and shut them down.
I've never said this before, but they'd have had a better chance to win that game with me at quarterback.
They would have, because you could at least throw the ball.
I can wing it around, man. I was called the Golden Arm in high school and intramural ball.
Yeah, at least you could have thrown it around a little bit.
I that's my thing. I don't get, Robbie. How can what do they have? 53 players on the team. You had 2 down.
Yeah.
So you had 51 players. All 51 of them can't throw a football.
Nobody can throw a football. But like the announcers were saying, why didn't they get in the Wildcat with
I can't believe McCaffrey can't throw a 15-yard pass.
You would think he's a football player, an athlete. You'd think he'd be able to do it. So
I think they may have taken the approach of, hey, you know what? There's no way we're going to lose 2 more quarterbacks. We've already lost 2, so we're not. That's not going to happen. But they did. So
but what was it? Why couldn't he throw the ball? Pat, was his hand numb? What was going on there?
I think his elbow got messed up, and he said he couldn't throw it more than 10 yards. I think it strained and it popped his elbow out, and even putting it back into place. That's the impression I got, but I may be wrong. It still was too sore to throw the ball. So and then Johnson had a concussion, and I think didn't Josh Johnson play for Kerwin Bell when Kerwin was out of San Diego? I think he did.
I think so, Pat. He's been on a lot of different places.
I think I don't
know how he's lasted that long.
We saw Kerwin in the Atlanta airport one day, and they were just getting back from playing out there. No, maybe he played against him. Maybe that's what it was. And he was talking about.
He played against.
He was talking about Josh Johnson. He goes, "Man, this guy's unbelievable." So I always think about him, and I'm waiting for him to be unbelievable, but I haven't seen it yet. But he's still making. I think I saw somewhere he has played 15 years in the NFL and he's made $8 million. I mean, that's hard to do that. It's hard to make that little money.
And think of how great his retirement's going to be, though, Pat, for hanging around that long.
I know. He's going to do fine. All right, Robbie, we'll let you go on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. We appreciate your time as always. We'll see you next Monday, okay?
Okay, take care of your ankle.
All right. See, a lot of people confuse me with Pat Mahomes because both great athletes, both great thinkers, both really smart people, or not. All right, let us get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. I've got a lot of people who have qualified. We're going to go ahead and pull one, I think, next week. I'm in the mood to do that. And we're going to give you the game's going to be Tennessee at Florida. I'm going to give you 3. The odds don't come out. It's weird with college basketball. The odds don't come out until the day of the game. So I'm just going to give you 3 points in Florida. I think it would probably be 6 or 7 if the game was at a neutral site. But they still give Florida a lot of credit for the Rowdy Reptiles. That's because my daughter's one of them. So that is going to be your Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. Tennessee at Florida. Florida getting 3. So you got this chance, and I think maybe Friday, and then maybe Monday. So 3 more chances to qualify, and then the following Friday will be into February. We'll go ahead and pull a winner that'll win a $25 gift certificate at Leonardo's, great Leonardo's place, and also Leonardo's at Millhopper Pizza, and a copy of my book, signed by me or not signed by me, whichever you prefer. All right, let us get to our Adams Ribco to go. Gator of the weekend. You know who I made Gator of the weekend? There were a lot of options because of the guys playing the NFL, and certainly a lot of them are eliminated, and a lot of them are still playing. But I went with Brian Shelton, I'm sorry, who won his 200th game, the Florida men's tennis coach, the other Shelton, as I refer to him now. But he, obviously his son's been getting Ben has been getting a lot of pub, going to all the way to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. But bottom line is he won his 200th match. His team did. And not only that, but they qualified for the ITA National Indoor, which is important. You need to win that kind of match to get in there, and it just makes your seed that much higher. They beat Mississippi State 4-2. So Brian Shelton, who we've had on this show, I think this was pre-Tammy. I'm looking forward to post-Tammy, though. But pre-Tammy, he was on this show and was fun to talk to. We appreciate him. All right, Hesser and Kipke, 3 things coming up next. As always, we love to do that. Ken is a happy puppy right now because his Eagles are playing for the World Championship. His Phillies just played for the World Championship, and his Sixers may play for the World Championship. I don't know where the Philadelphia Flyers are ranking. I don't know where they are. Anyway. Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-on-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Well, check out their more than 50 5-star Google reviews, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920. Ken and Jennifer Kipke. Hesser and Kipke. Kipke. Yes, I said it right. Hesser and Kipke. We love them. Great sponsors for us. And they also are a sponsor. I always forget to say that. They are a sponsor of Robbie Andreu's appearances on this show. So that great appearance by Robbie Andreu was brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, just so you know. All right, number 1. I love this, and I don't know how true it is, but I still liked it. And it was something Nick Saban said this week. He was talking to a coach, and the coach relayed this. Now, it may not be true, but I'm going to repeat it anyway because it was on Twitter. But he was talking about players coming to him and asking for money to come to school. And he had a player, he said, who asked him, he said, I need $500,000 and I need you to get my daughter my daughter. I need you to get my wife. I need you to get my girlfriend. I think that was right. I need you to get my girlfriend into law school and pay for that too. And Nick Saban said, here's the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out. Now, that's what Nick Saban says. I hope that's true. There's got to be a comeuppance where people, these players that are coming in, walking into these college campuses and demanding all this money. Now, again, it may be that the agent did that. And this is where I think part of my problem with the NIL, there's a million problems we all have. But part of my problem is there's no transparency. So basically, we have no idea what's really happening. I have heard 9 stories about quarterback from California. It didn't come here. They're all different. None of them may be true. All of them may be true. I don't know. I'm so tired of it. We need to get this resolved, but we're not gonna. And that's the way it's going to be. But it's good to see a coach stand up to it if he really did, which I'm going to assume he did. I think he's pretty good about that kind of stuff. And that's one reason I like Nick Saban, even though I know it makes Gator fans mad. How can you like him? Anyway, number 2, not a good weekend for Stetson Bennett. Got arrested for public intoxication. I think he, certainly nobody carded him. But I think he's 48 now, 48 years old. I think Stetson Bennett. But the bottom line is things happen. People do this. I'm not condoning it. I'm not condemning it. But the trouble is with all that's going on at Georgia, the story just came out about the coach was talking about it was a company car that the people passed away in. They were at a strip club, all that. Gator fans, I'm going to warn you again. I've said this a million times. When things start to go bad at a place, and I'm not saying they're going bad, they've had some bad news, stay away from it. It all comes back around. Everybody has problems. Everybody has issues. The main thing to deal with here is 2 people passed away. 2 people died in a car wreck. And that's the only thing anybody should care about. All this other stuff is just, look, Stetson Bennett. Yeah. Forget it. Please don't do that. Be better than that. Number 3 is the whole thing with McElroy and Patrick Reed. My usual phone call. McElroy and Patrick Reed, which was great theater, and then guess what happened? They end up, McElroy's got a putt on the last hole to win, to beat Patrick Reed, and makes it. Yay, McElroy. I hate Patrick Reed. I love Rory McIlroy. But at least, like a lot of times, it's almost like you say, well, that's a Hollywood ending. It was, because the good guy and the bad guy were competing, and the good guy won. And the bad guy had to go home, take his live money. Anyway, I liked it. I like that it happened. All right, let us get to, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and thanks to them so much. Let us get to our Odell Realty and Ben Ige games of the week. We did, by the way, we did have some storage problems with our, it's complicated. It's too complicated for me. Tammy's explained it all to me, and I still don't understand it, but we're going to get that problem resolved. I got to quit going over. That's the big thing, right? So, and Ben was one of the people that reached out to me and says, hey, last couple haven't been down. We're okay now. Got everything resolved. Here's our games of the week. Tonight, Florida plays Auburn. If you're listening to this on Monday, they play tonight, 7:00. It's on the SEC network. I mean, Florida's not very good, to be honest with you. They're not terrible, but they're just not great. Watch it. You're a Gator, right? If you ain't a Gator, what are you? That's right. All right. As we know, Wednesday, Florida plays Tennessee. That's on ESPN2. The game is here. It's a 7:00 game. A lot of people will be going to it, but if you want to watch it on TV, that's a 7:00 game. Tuesday, night. I'm looking forward to this. The rematch, Kansas State at Kansas. They pumped it up a lot during the Florida-Kansas State game because they were out of things to talk about because it was such a bad game. That game is on 8 o'clock, but it's only on the Big 12 network, which I think I get, or ESPN Plus, which sometimes I get. So this is not – you would think a game like this is going to be they're both in the top 5, right? Or maybe not because Kansas is falling out a little bit. Anyway, that'll be a great game. And then we mentioned earlier, Florida golf is starting today at Sawgrass and TBC Sawgrass, one of the great courses that nobody talks about because right across the street is, of course, the Players Course. So we got a lot of stuff going on this week, but next weekend we're going to have a ton of stuff going on. I'm not even going to talk about the Pro Bowl this weekend. I'm not going to even do that. I'm not even going to mention it. Oh, I mentioned it. Can we delete that? Can we edit that out? Finally, let's go to Pat Dooley's story time. I did want to talk about my seats at the Super Bowl. And you guys are going, oh, come on, Dooley. But, I got to go to a bunch of them. And but the funny thing is, the first time I went, I was I want to say it was in Palo Alto. It might have been in Tampa. But anyway, both these are related. They're both about the same. So I'm sitting in the press box at the old Sombrero in Tampa. It's the Raiders and the Redskins. And I'm sitting 2 seats down from Al Davis, the owner of the Raiders. For some reason, he's in the press box. And he's into the game, and he's screaming and yelling. And some guy comes up to take a video of him, celebrating the win. He goes, "This game's not over, you MF." And he starts cussing at him and everything. And I'm like, let me write this down. This is good stuff. So I think it was the next year, or maybe it was the year before. I get confused with years. I'm in Palo Alto, Dolphins and 49ers. And I'm on the front row of the press box. I mean, I've got this great seat. It's a beautiful night. The game wasn't so good. I wanted the Dolphins to win. All right. So the last Super Bowl I went to was this tells you how things change, was in Jacksonville. And I went to my seat. I found my seat, and it was on the last row of the stadium. And you literally look like ants down there. But I had to go up there because you get this package of stuff that's unbelievable. It's like, headphones and all these different things. It's like probably $500 worth of stuff they just give you for being in the media. So I went up there and got it, took it down, watched the game on TV. Halftime, Paul McCartney's going to play. I run out, I find a place where I can stand and watch him, run back in, watch the game on TV. So they sent me all the way there, all the way to Jacksonville, just to watch the game on TV. But bottom line, it's trained me for the future because that's all I do now. All right, we got to get out of here. Appreciate our great friends at Eastlake Pediatric for sponsoring Pat Dooley's Storytime. Got plenty more to tell you, believe me. In fact, I told one to Tammy today. I don't think I'll tell